but it did shake kind of my belief in historical Christianity. You know, I was reading a David Icke book, his Big Old Monster, on the David Icke Guide to the Global Conspiracy, and of course he starts right off by talking about how the story of Jesus is not historically accurate, and so, you know, I'm thinking, wow, this guy's got all this other good information. Maybe, you know, some things in the Bible aren't totally accurate. Maybe it's just, you know, some things did get changed. But the more I dug into it, the more I found that I could trust the Bible even more than I had before. I went to a Christian college, but, you know, there's always some professors that try to take kind of academic approaches to the Bible, and but through this, I really found, you know, you could trust the Bible more than anything.
Again, I had some more technical difficulties here, and I was saying that I was describing the chapter about the lies of the truth movement here. It's kind of describing the philosophy of the lies of the truth movement, because I think it's such an important part to explain. It saves somebody so much time in getting woken up to the true facts of this system, and then sort of kind of getting them to say, and there's this sort of mindset out there. And I think you sum it up well too, which is this: all of the false teachers in the truth movement appeal to man's desire to feel special and smart. Most importantly, the false teachers also tap into the Luciferian lie that man can attain higher levels and ultimately godhood through themselves. Unfortunately, it is not just the truth movement that is propagating Luciferian doctrine, the corporate media, entertainment, and movie industries. And then go on to lead into the next chapter. What I wanted to talk about there in that chapter was about David Icke and this quote. I thought it was a pretty interesting quote that you found there. And it's just interesting to see it all in black and white. You know, he kind of has this demeanor about him of like, oh, well, you know, he probably wouldn't be too blasphemous or anything, but you can hear in what he's saying here the exact line almost repeated verbatim by, you know, thousands and thousands of kids who believe this to be absolutely true.
Right.
And really, in a lot of ways, it did start with him. He says, let's see, he's going on about these different things. He doesn't get into Christianity until he starts saying, look at how all these religions claim it is blasphemous to say that you are the all, or what we call God. We can't say that we are God. We must be humble and accept that we are subordinate sinners who must cower in the face of the Almighty. This nonsense is designed by those who control the religions, not the programmed underlings or in the funny hats to lock us into the computer level of perception, the level at which we are easy to shepherd and pin. Listen to the language of religion. The Lord is your shepherd, and you are part of the flock. What pain and suffering has been caused by the religions which talk of judgment days and some God choosing who does and who does not have eternal life. They tell us that only if we believe in the non-existent Jesus can we qualify for eternity.
Yep, and the quotes that I selected from the different kind of New Age truth gurus are all specifically about Jesus Christ, because I didn't really care to try to get in and debate on, you know, Tessarians.
More technical difficulty here, and I was talking about David Icke, and Andrew commented.
It's not so much that I, don't like the guy or I'm out to attack him or anything. It's just, you know, you can't reconcile the two. You know, you can't say, oh, I believe everything David Icke says, and I'm still a Christian. You know, there's got to be separation there. And one thing that I heard you say in one of your videos is that, we're all still sheeple. And I think that humility is important, of realizing, hey, I can be deceived. You know, I have the capability of believing other people's lies and my own lies to myself. And that was an important aspect of it for me, not getting into this whole, oh, look at me, I figured out the truth about 9/11, so
That's right.
Now I know everything.
Here I asked Andrew about eugenics. He has about 3 chapters that deal with eugenics in some way or another. So I asked him what his overall opinion was about it as he was researching it and why he wanted to make it a prominent part of the book.
In those chapters, I tried to look at kind of the philosophy of eugenics and then some of the programs. And I think what I'm hoping it helps people do is put the different things they hear about fluoride or about MSG or aspartame or any of those things in context, and to see that it's not just one thing here or there, it's part of a program, and try to explain kind of the mindset of people who believe in eugenics. And I traced it back to Darwin and the idea, we can guide evolution and we can create this Superman, and if we can only get those bad genes out of the gene pool, humanity could really take off. And of course, that ignores the real problem with man, which is sin. And it also justifies what kind of elite groups or royalty have always done. They've always, tried to keep power to themselves by, inbreeding and trying to consolidate power. So it was trying to show where that mindset comes from and then how it affects our world today.
Here I asked Andrew if there was anything that surprised him about his research in eugenics.
Well, one thing that was surprising, I just posted, I think, an article on my Facebook page, and someone commented that I should read G.K. Chesterton about, because he had written a lot about eugenics, and I'd read some of his stuff before, but I had no idea that it was he had dealt with that issue. So that's a book that I quote from quite a bit, and it was surprising that, and I think he wrote it in 1911, and he saw the problems that were going to come from it. He talks about, if you start creating laws about saying a person can't eat this or can't marry someone they want or all those things, he basically predicted that it would end in a totalitarian nightmare, basically. And people absolutely ridiculed him, and it includes those quotes in the book also.
Here I asked Andrew what the sort of satanic overall plan with eugenics is, in his opinion.
Right. I think it just gives them reasons for doing what they already want to do. They already want to steal, kill, and destroy. And it gives them a justification. Oh, the world's overpopulated, or look at all the stupid people out there. We must, make humanity better and healthier and smarter and all these things.
Andrew then also goes on to explain that it's a bit like a counterfeit in a lot of ways of Christ's eventual just kingdom here on earth. I then quote from a chapter that he titles The Media Matrix, where it says, "There has been a great deal of writing in Christian circles that quite correctly decries the sexual, violent, and anti-family content of our media-saturated culture. The sexual immorality is glorified incessantly, gratuitous violence is pervasive, and trying to find a well-functioning family with a father, mother, and children behaving in a biblically obedient way is like looking for a teetotaler on Bourbon Street during Mardi Gras. However, there is usually something missing from the critiques of the American media. It is the understanding that these outrages are deliberately planned and executed in order to break down the institutions that are the biggest threat to the power monopoly of New World Order corporate state, the church, the family, and the individual. My critique will focus on informational and educational media because the messages in entertainment programming parrot the messages in news media. People may be less likely, however, to identify the news media as carefully scripted, controlled, and manipulated for specific ends."
And, there's some things I get into that'll be familiar to your listeners, the false left-right paradigm and how that system works, and how, just they make it all about individuals. Everything's about Obama, or if you watch a news program, it's all centered in Washington D.C. and everything is all about what the government is doing, and it'll be the same story